Welcome to Don't Chuck It Up. I'm Chuck, a college counselor helping families and educators navigate the college search and the application process with clarity and confidence. Today, we are talking with one of my former students. I always find that it's best to learn how this thing works for students by bringing them on the show and finding out how they are doing. So today, we are joined by Cameron Chudacoff. Welcome, Cameron.
Hi, my name's Cameron. I'm from Appleton, Wisconsin. Obviously, actually, right now I'm a sophomore at the University of Tampa, and I've worked with Chuck since my sophomore year of high school, and he helped me every step of the way to pick University of Tampa and get there.
And I did not pay him to say that. So I have known Cameron actually a lot longer than that. I have been
Mhm.
friends with his parents since college. And I also worked with Cameron's older sister as well, who's now a PhD student at the University of Iowa. So that's always fun. But Cameron, let's talk about your experience. So you said you're from Appleton, Wisconsin. You went to high school up here in northern Wisconsin. Talk to me about
Yeah.
what was high school like? What were you involved in? What was that experience like for you?
Yeah, so I went to Appleton North actually in Wisconsin, and I was involved in plenty of things. Like I was mainly a athlete kind of person, so I was involved in football and wrestling, and I'd say those are like the two main things I was involved in. I also was part of DECA in high school as well, so I kind of got my first taste of business through that too, and I actually had a leadership position in that as well, which was fun to do in high school. But yeah, I'd say I was like my main involvements while I was in high school for sure.
Yeah, that was great. And what was academic life like for you in high school?
Yeah. Academic life in high school, I'd say like I remember my freshman year of high school. That was COVID, the big COVID, and
Yep.
that wasn't too fun. I think those were my best grades though, because everything was online. So I had like a 4.0. It was pretty nice. And then sophomore year, we went back to school, and I did kind of fumble the ball there. I think I draw my GPA down to like a 3.2 or 3.3 or something like that. But I realized I was like, if I ever want to, go to college and get to a good university, I gotta lock this in. So junior year, senior year, really started to study more, focus on my grade, build effective habits that worked for me, and I was able to bring my GPA up to, I think it was a 3.5 on the dot, I think exactly, and it definitely helped me out in the long run for when I was applying to schools.
Yeah, well, and I'm glad you bring this up because I think there's a lot of students in particular who are thinking of studying business, which is what you're doing in college right now, who believe that they
Mhm.
need to have a 4.0 in order to go to a business school. Now, let me be truthful and honest, to get into the most competitive, hyper selective business schools, yeah, you
Yeah,
probably need your top GPA. But to get to a really solid business school, you can do it that way. But I also love that you talked about that you brought your GPA up. And I think there's some students that kind of go, oh, I have a lower GPA, I'm cooked, I won't be able to go to college. And it's like, no, if you work your butt off and get your GPA to go in that upward trend, you're gonna have a better shot at getting into colleges and have more options for you. So
mhm.
when we started working together, I don't think you were originally thinking business. I think you were in a different space. Do you remember what that was like when you were back then? That's so many years ago.
Yeah. I think initially I wanted to be a history major, or like a combination of history and business, because I've always loved history. So initially I wanted to go into school for history, and I mean, this isn't the best advice, but I picked business just because I knew it'd probably better set me up for what I want to do. I want to obviously make plenty of money someday. So like going into history, I'd probably either become like an historian at a library or be like a teacher. So that didn't seem like there's as much money in there. So that's why I ended up picking business. But I still love history. I read history books all the time.
I was gonna say you were super passionate about your history classes, and that was the one subject that you definitely was your strongest in high school. And I think
Oh,
it's true for most high schoolers. They go, "Well, what do I do with the history major?" Actually, law tends to be another area that a lot of students would go into, which is a money making profession. So you don't have to just be a historian or a history teacher, you know, but you could have gone into the law world or done political stuff or something like that. So you started off with history. We did some reflection and some kind of thinking about what you really were passionate about and what you were really interested in. And I think that's where you started to gravitate more towards the business side. And it's not that you left history in the dirt. You just were like, okay, but this might be more the direction that I want to go.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. I mean, like, I think when I was going down to the root of it, I knew someday, like, my biggest dream was always to be an entrepreneur and, work my own business, have my own business, kind of do my own thing. And so that's kind of what led me to going into the business route.
Yeah, and we can talk a little bit more about your current business a little bit later, but I'm kind of wondering, what about the college search process? What were you thinking about when we started to plan what type of colleges you wanted to apply for?
Yeah. So I remember thinking like my big thing was I didn't want to go to a massive school where, there's 50,000 kids at the school and I got to send a lecture all with 500 kids in every class. I wanted something where I felt like I could actually actively learn and get a hold of the professor if I really wanted to get a hold of them. So that's why I decided like a medium school would be great for me because it's still like a plethora of kids. Like Tampa has, I think, 13,000 students here right now. So, I'm still meeting new people on a daily basis, but each class I'm have like 30 kids max in every class, which has been great to get a hold of the professors. So that was definitely one of my factors. And then I also was really wanted to go out of state, kind of gain some independence myself. So that's what also led me to leave Wisconsin. And it's warm here year round. So, there's no winter depression in Florida.
I mean, that is true. And like many students out there, you really were interested in a medium. And I kind of call that the Goldilocks, not too small, not too large, just kind of right, which is the most common requested college of students that I work with is that medium. And for me, a medium is anywhere between, 5 to just about 10,000. You said UT is about 13. I think that's with the grad programs. I think you're closer to about 10, but UT, University of Tampa, has drastically grown over the last few years and has added a lot of new buildings to support all of those students. But yeah, it's a medium, and you definitely said out of state because if I remember correctly, while you were in the middle of sports and the snow's coming down, you were just like, okay, no, I'm done with this. We need something else. So we looked all across the country, really. I mean, I gave you a wide variety of colleges that could fit you academically, socially, and financially what your family wanted to spend. And you quickly kind of gravitated towards, okay, we're looking more towards the Florida area.
Oh, yeah.
I
Yeah.
think, I mean, to disclose, your grandparents live not too far from you right now, so I think that was
Mhm.
probably a factor as to why you looked at the University of Tampa, which is very convenient. And I think a lot of students look at colleges in Florida because they have grandparents or relatives down there. So, uh, you did all the applications, and what was that experience like actually applying to colleges?
I'd say it wasn't as bad as I thought it was gonna be. I remember watching my older sister do it, and she always is just stressed about stuff. So I thought it'd be like the end of the world. I'm gonna be up all night doing these applications. But when it came down to it, I think we applied to like 4 or 5 schools total. And it wasn't like too hard with all the softwares they have nowadays. You can just kind of put your information in once and just send it to every school, which was nice. And I really enjoyed writing my college essay and like talking about just like personal stuff that I'm going to and like personal growth and everything. I really enjoyed doing that.
Yeah, you did an amazing job of narrowing your list down. I really feel like students nowadays think that, oh, I need to apply to 15, 20, 25, 30 colleges. And I'm going, no, if you research the places and figure out what type of fits you want and what's going to make you happy, you can make that list pretty small. And I was kind of surprised that you got that small of a list down. I was great. I was excited. Less work for us to do, but let's be real. But,
Yeah.
the fact that you got down to like 4 or 5 schools was freaking awesome. And I I really appreciated that you did a lot of self-reflection and figured out like what did you want to share with the colleges about who you are, what did you learn from all of your experiences in high school and how to share that in the application. So you actually did a great job writing. I didn't have to, force you to do a whole lot of writing to do it. You just kind of did it yourself. So you sent them all off. Remind me, did you get admitted everywhere?
No, I didn't get admitted everywhere. So I got admitted to University of Tampa. Obviously, it's kind of a buzzer beater. They waited pretty long to admit me, so I was a little nervous because this was the school I really wanted to go to. But I remember I got accepted into Iowa. Um, TCU, I got put like on a wait list and then later accepted, which was cool. Honestly, didn't end up really wanting to go there, so I just kind of threw it on there as a what if
Yep.
scenario. And UW Madison there, I mean, they're as picky as ever, so I just straight up got deferred from there. But that's fine. I'm here in Tampa and I love it. So
Yeah, again, it goes to show that sometimes you have to look outside of your state in order to get some better college admissions results. So I still think you did really well. You didn't get flat out a no from anyone. You just kind of had
mm,
the can kicked down the road, which I think,
uh,
and my students right now who are applying to the University of Tampa are in the same situation that you were, which is like, when are decisions coming out? What's going on? Hold on. And I was like, yep, Tampa takes its time. You got to be patient. It's going to happen. So you got admitted to these places, but you were, as you said, you were kind of laser focused on the University of Tampa. Talk to me about what about the University of Tampa really stood out to you during the admissions process.
yeah. So I mean, what stood out to me initially was during that admissions process, I did a lot of research on the school online. And I saw, like, for just, like, the southern half of America, they're one of, like, the top accredited business schools down here, and also, like, the entrepreneurship program here is ridiculous, like, they have a whole building just for entrepreneurship, which really stuck out to me with lots of faculty there directly to help you with your pitches if you wanna, like, pitch your product to someone to get investments and stuff like that, like, there's just a lot of useful resources here that I didn't necessarily see at some of the other schools I was applying. And then also, obviously, the weather here was one of the main things that attracted me down here. Then, like I said before, the class sizes and just the fact that you're in a medium-sized city, so there's always stuff
Mhm.
to do, but it's not like you're in New York where you're in a city and, like, you
Right.
can't sleep at night type of thing, so it was just really attractive to me in that way.
Yeah, I think you brought up a lot of great points about the size, the location, the academic environment. I will also say that you went down for one of the admitted student
Uh,
events at University of Tampa, and you texted me. You were like, "This is freaking amazing. I'm
mhm.
enjoying my time on campus." So once I got that, I was like, "Wow, that's pretty much a lock in." I think I think you're going to be going to the University of Tampa. So let's fast forward a little more recent. So you're a second year, a sophomore student at Tampa. What was your first year like? What was freshman year like being at the University of Tampa?
Freshman year, honestly, there's a lot of ups and downs that came with freshman year. Like, I remember getting to school, being super excited. I'm on college, big man on campus. It was super exciting. And that fun lasted for about 2 weeks until I realized, oh, this is a lot more serious schoolwork than high school. So then I really had to I enjoyed being able to implement like discipline into my life that would probably have been harder to implement in my life back home. And it's also was interesting learning how to live with two other people in the same room as you. So I think that definitely helped me just learn how to get along with people a lot better. And I remember like feeling homesick, honestly, all first semester of freshman year and then I was super excited to go back on winter break that first year, and I remember going back on winter break, and after Christmas was done, I was like, "Dude, I wanna go back to school, like, there's nothing for me to do here." And then that's when I quickly realized that Tampa was the place for me, and then I didn't feel homesick at all second semester because I knew I loved it there and I enjoyed being there. but I definitely, one of my key takeaways of freshman year was just trying to build effective study habits and like discipline for myself. Really brought me a long way.
I'm glad you brought up some great points. I think the discipline and the habits, I think you were already set up to lock that in because you were a two-sport athlete, and so you already were used to keeping a very kind of strict schedule and making sure you got everything done. But I think having the college version of that is a little bit different because classes in high school, classes are bell, class, and in college, your schedule is different almost every day. So, learning how to lock that in and get the resources to make sure that you're getting your homework done and staying on top of assignments in college, it is a learning process. And I'll tell you that most students struggle their first semester. I was on academic probation my first semester, and, I graduated top 10 of my high school. And when I went to college, I struggled that first semester. So I totally get it. And I think students don't realize that because everything that you see on social media is like, yeah, I love college. It's awesome. It's great. And they don't realize like, no, there's a struggle with the academic switch and the homesickness is real. Like, granted, you were in, a place that the weather was not really affecting you because you're in a awesome area, but homesickness is still real. You're used to being in your home neighborhood, your home school, around your family, those types of things. And that switch can be challenging sometimes.
Yeah, no, yeah, definitely. And I'm in. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, and you even had the benefit that you went to college with one of your high school buddies, so it's not like you were doing this solo. Like you had someone that you've grown up with that you knew that went to college with you.
Oh yeah, that definitely helps a lot for sure. I mean, you got to make sure like you're like this with that friend because it can either make or break that relationship you have with your friend for sure. Like I've heard stories of people doing that and then it just destroys their friendship. But luckily, we're both pretty chill guys, so it worked out just fine. And then it was also about twice as easy to make friends that way too, because you kind of always wish someone to kind of make friends and everything, so you're not just putting yourself out there, which was nice.
Yeah, and I mean I heard that you were planning to room with your high school buddy, and I even asked your mother. I was like, "Is that going to be okay? Like, are they going to coexist all right?" And yeah, it seemed to work because I think your mom and I were just like, "Yeah, we'll see." I'm like, "Okay," but I'm glad it worked out that as well. So, what did you join? What got you? What did you get involved in as a new student at the University of Tampa?
Yeah. So as a new student at the University of Tampa, my first semester, honestly, I didn't join much. I didn't get too involved whatsoever. And I remember going home on winter break feeling like I could be doing a lot more with myself and the opportunities I have at Tampa. So I felt like guilty in a sense. So then second semester, I just joined the entrepreneurship club. And then I just started literally going to as many like different clubs that seemed interesting to me as I could. So I was going to like entrepreneurship club, real estate club. I think I went to like finance club, just a bunch of different type of stuff where I could meet these people and gain those connections that would help me in the future. And it definitely worked out for me. I loved entrepreneurship club and I was so involved in it that I got asked to step on the exec board, which has been super fun as well.
Nice. So you went from not really joining anything first semester, joining a few things second semester, getting really, falling in love with the entrepreneurship club, and now for this year you're on the exec board. That's amazing. That's great.
Yeah, it's
How is
been
how
fun.
is how did your academic life turn out for your first year at University of Tampa?
Um, I'd say definitely my first semester was a little tough, but I was able to, again, like high school, I was able to rebound and start kicking that GPA up. So I definitely, I don't even think I had a 3.0 like my first semester of college. Like I had a 2.8 something. And then second semester, I was able to get probably like a 3.2. And so that brought me up to 3.0 GPA. And then last semester, I got 3.5, which has totally, got my GPA up to like a 3.3 now, which is it's awesome. It's definitely a little bit of a relief.
Yeah, absolutely. And as I said, you're trending in the right direction. That's the biggest thing.
Mhm.
And I will tell you that the vast majority of employers do not look at your GPA. They're looking more at what type of classes have you taken and, what has been your involvement in school and out of school. So how have you been managing your stress and your mental health in college? What are you doing to keep yourself in good stress level and good mental health?
Yeah. So, I mean, I've always been a big believer in just like finding a hobby or hobbies and stuff you're passionate about will always kind of help you like not be as stressed out and relax a little bit. And I also have found that keeping like a good health routine will help you out a lot in the long run because it keeps your body at a normal level so your hormones and everything aren't all out of whack to be at risk of stressing out even more. So I just try to, get some type of physical workout in every day, whether it's even just going for a walk and getting fresh air. Stuff like that's really helps me a long way. And then I've also, ever since I got to college, I've really dived into playing guitar actually. Like one of my roommates plays guitar, and that's been super fun because I played a little bit in high school, but I've been starting to get better and better, which has been fun to do. And also, I think reading has helped me a ton. Like I used to hate reading when I was in high school. I didn't like books, but like when I growing up, I did enjoy reading, like Harry Potter, Diver Wimpy Kid,
Right.
stuff like that. So I think also when I had free time, I just got into reading actual books again. And that's helped me even academically because I feel it's a lot easier for me to read textbooks and stuff like that now because I genuinely enjoy it.
I am, you gave three amazing examples, getting outside, getting that sunshine and fresh air. Unfortunately, your generation absolutely loves video gaming so much, and I'm worried about students getting locked in their room and just being on the video games. And video games have their role. I'm not against video games, but you got to get out and get some sunshine and get some fresh
Oh,
air and stretch your legs. Um,
totally.
I love that you dove back into guitar. Like you used to dabble in that a long time ago, and it kind of went on the shelf. And it's like, oh, great, you're doing that again. That's awesome. That's a fun thing for me to learn. I didn't know you were back at that. And reading, yeah, I like you. I absolutely did not like reading in high school, and I think it's because we were really forced to read stuff that wasn't interesting to me. It was like, okay, you have to read all these classic books. And don't get me wrong, the classics are great, but like when I was 16, I was like, why am I reading this stuff? But then once I
Mhm.
got to college, I found stuff that I actually enjoyed reading for fun. And now as an adult, I read for fun a whole lot more because now I'm like, wow, there's stuff out there that I actually want to read versus, being forced to read. And yeah, I agree with you. I think it helps college students. If you read for fun, it's going to impact your academic reading as well because you are able to read faster and be able to dive into it a lot more because you're reading for fun on the side. Oh, those are excellent examples. So
Mhm.
let's
And
change. Go ahead.
I will say, you talked about video games before. Honestly, this might be a hot take, but when you're going to college, I will say leave the video game console at home. Like I remember bringing my video game console with me first semester, and then I could count on my hand how many times I've played video games at college ever since. Just because, like, once you're in college, like I don't know. I feel like you should be more focused on, connecting with people, making friends, and I found like more enjoyment and just like the experiences of doing stuff with people and like putting yourself out there. It's a lot better than, sitting and playing video games. But no hate to video games if that's like
Right.
your thing. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I have students that are majoring in video game design at other colleges, so it literally is their life. But
Oh, yeah.
I love the fact that you said that you brought your video game console and then you ended up not using it. And I think I think it acts as a safety net for a lot of students because it's something that they're familiar with, and they go, okay, I have my video game community. I have people online that I game with on the regular, but you're right that if you can get away from it and get out there and get involved in the college and go to social events and activities and sports, like you're going to find that you're going to make friends IRL when not have to deal with it online all the time. So yeah, I think that's awesome advice. That's great. So when did you decide to start launching your own business? Like when did this happen?
Oh, yeah. So I mean, growing up, obviously, I've always kind of wanted to launch my own business. I feel like I have the drive. I've always like enjoyed working hard and doing stuff I want to work hard. And
Mhm.
when I was thinking about it, I kind of don't want to be working hard for another man's business. I'd rather do it on something that's my own. So I mean, I started just dabbling in it like freshman year. I was posting like TikTok shop videos, which I can't really even say is business or anything, but it was entrepreneurial spirit for
Right.
sure. I was selling stuff on there. And then I was doing that for a while. And then I found this whole market called UGC, which is user generated content, where companies literally just hire you out to make videos for them, which I found this is honestly like if you're a college student, this is the best hack to making money. You don't have to get an hourly job and you're still able to, pull in basically however many companies you want to work with. And like, so I don't know, each company are making like $200 a week for making a TikTok for them every day and
Mhm.
just promoting their stuff. So like, definitely gives you a nice way to have some extra cash to actually enjoy yourself at college. So we're currently, me and a couple of my friends were working, who also do that. We're working on making kind of an agency in that to, get more college kids because that's like the target audience that they want for making these videos to bring that to companies, and then they'll have a whole package of creators, and they don't get to individually go for each one. But yeah,
See, this is great. I obviously I follow your TikTok so I can see what the heck you're up to, and you've done a really great job. You're constantly posting, you're constantly promoting the products that you're doing, and I think you're genuinely promoting products that you actually enjoy. I don't think that you're really promoting products that you're just like, oh, I'm never going to use this, but like you're doing stuff that you as a college student might actually use and enjoy, and then you're sharing what you know about that product online. And yeah,
oh,
but
yeah,
you're way better at your TikToks than I am. You're way more consistent. I don't have it's a lot to do a TikTok as far as okay, grab them for 90 seconds and get your stuff done and make it look good and everything like that. It's like, yeah, I'd rather do long form content. This is better what I do. I'd rather have people listen to me for a while than for 90 seconds. So you're better at the short form content than I am.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it definitely helps. I grew up in the generation with TikTok and Instagram and all that stuff ready at hand, so it definitely helps with, for sure.
Yeah, I'm Generation X. We like to talk a little bit more, and we're from the documentary era, and we like to talk and dive into stuff in a little bit deeper than 90 seconds worth. I'm ADD, but I'm not 90-second ADD. I need a little bit longer than that. So talk to me about looking. You're now in the middle of your second year. You're almost halfway through college. Think about
Mhm.
that. What what's on the horizon for you for the next couple of years? What are you going to be up to? What's in your plans?
Yeah, so I actually at the start of last semester, I was initially an entrepreneurship major, and I switched my major to accounting just because I saw it as a little bit more of a valuable degree. Because with a lot of my involvements, I was gaining that entrepreneurship knowledge. Um, so I switched to accounting just because that's pretty much the language of business. You can never go wrong with that major.
Yep.
Understand taxes, everything like that. So I definitely don't want to be an accountant. It's just great skill to have. So I'd say on my horizon, hoping to, launch that business I was talking about.
Mhm.
Maybe it works out, maybe it doesn't, but it's definitely a building step in the right direction for sure. And so I'm hoping to just keep working on businesses with my buddies by myself. And I don't know if Tampa's gonna ever be my final destination where I live. I mean, I do like Wisconsin for certain factors, so I might end up back there or somewhere kind of cool like that has snow and stuff too. Like Colorado's a cool state, but yeah, it's kind of what I see so far in my future.
I love that you said that you are still thinking about coming back to Wisconsin. I interviewed one of my other students who's at a different university in Florida on the opposite coast,
Mhm.
And I said, what do you plan to do after college? She goes, oh, I plan to move to Green Bay and get a job. I was like, you've been in sunshiny South, and he's in southeastern Florida on the Space Coast. And he's just like, oh yeah, and I'm going to come back to Green Bay. I'm like, you realize we have like snow. For those of you who aren't aware, it is the middle of January, and we are about to head in Wisconsin into what's called the deep freeze.
Mhm.
This coming Friday, Cameron. I don't know if you're aware, but we are going to have the coldest temperatures on record since 2019. So we're about to really get blasted with Canadian air, and you and I have both grown up with it. We know what happens, but it doesn't last long. But yeah, for about 48 hours, it's cold. It's very, very,
Ah,
very cold. So
yeah.
yeah, send your best wishes to your parents who are going to be dealing with this lovely Arctic cold blast that we get every year in January, and it's always a blast. But it's funny that you say like, oh, you kind of miss a little bit of that cold, and maybe not Wisconsin, as you said, Colorado or another place where you have access to winter, but maybe not living within inside of winter. So yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
So as we kind of wrap up, and I love all the information that you've shared today, is there something looking back to your high school self or your high school experience? Is there some words of wisdom or advice that you would wish you could, send that message back to either parents or counselors or current students who might be listening in? What advice would you give to them who are currently in the high school process?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I got some good advice for students. I'd say while you're in high school, it's definitely harder to do than when you're in college. But if you can kind of push yourself out of your comfort zone and do stuff you normally wouldn't do and not care about the opinions of others, it'll set you out a long way. And like, I also would say emphasizing your people skills while you're in high school and really getting good at that, speaking to adults and just pretty much any person you can is huge. Cause I mean, I think when I was in high school, I'm like, what you would call like an introverted extrovert type of
Yep.
person where like, uh, I just wasn't like too much of a talker, but I did enjoy talking to people. So, and when I got to college, I really tried to, just talk to as many people as I can, fresh start. And it's definitely helped me on a long way. I really built good skills in that manner. And I'd say, yeah, just get involved as much as you can. Like there's some opportunities that I had when I was in high school that I was just telling you before I regret not doing. Like I could have joined the speech team at my high school. I remember my teacher wanted me to do that. And I was like, no, that's stupid. I'm not going to do that. But it turns out like that would have been super beneficial because you give good amount of speeches in colleges depending on what you're going to. And it's a little nerve wracking. So learning stuff like that's super useful and it'll set you apart from your peers as well. Cause once you get to college, it's kind of like I don't know, it's a rat race is what you would call it. Like, you're trying to be better than everyone around you and get the good letters of recommendations, the better grades and everything. So bet on yourself essentially.
That Cameron, that you gave some awesome advice, and I'd really appreciate you taking the time out of your day because you're a busy young man. So I appreciate you swinging back and connecting with me and letting me know how everything's going. So, Cameron, currently a second year student at the University of Tampa in Tampa, Florida. Thanks for joining me on the Don't Chuck It Up show.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me on, Chuck.
Well, everyone, thanks for listening to Don't Chuck It Up. If today's episode was helpful, be sure to subscribe and share it with a family navigating the college search. I'll be back next week with more guidance to help you make confident college decisions. Until then, remember, don't chuck it up.